Hi guys, welcome to my brief Hunyuan Foundation's book launch. We have a few people from around the world, and I see everyone is bouncing in and out, each one on their cell phone trying to log in and losing signals. So not related to the book itself, but related to learning Hunyuan. I wanted to share that my other computer, not this laptop that I'm using here, but my other computer crashed yesterday, but it's still working. So this morning I saw a patient online, and then I need to print her a shipping label from the computer. But every transaction on the computer takes like 10 minutes, to go into the mail, into printing a label, into opening a PDF. So I'm sitting like this. It's like 10 minutes. I'm trying to print a label. Normally it takes me 10 seconds. And then another click, another 5 minutes. But I have to print it because the computer is crashed and might die every second. After that, I can't print the label at all. So in any case, I had a moment of reflection there. I'm sitting there and I said, wow, everything is running so fast. Second, online, on Facebook, Instagram, everything is so fast. All of a sudden, I have to do like a click every 5-10 minutes. Wow, that was an exercise, So I think, when we learn Hunyuan and we kind of train ourselves not to get so mad or punch the computer or anything. Just say, you know what, just take it easy. So welcome everyone to the Hunyuan Foundation book launch. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the new book that just came out, Hunyuan Foundations. This is the front and the back cover. You can get it in hard copy, which is a paperback, and you can also get an ebook. And I just wanted to share with you what's in the book, how the book came about. So this book, we already published in the Hunyuan Institute a number of books, many of which, or some of which were like a very big project. So I just brought here for you to show. You might already know, like this Chinese medicine liberation is like a massive piece about the modern history of Chinese medicine. And then we put out books about heart medicine, what we call Hunyuan Shinfa. So these are also thick books. Translated some stuff from Liu Yuan. I'm showing you these books. And we had some fertility books. We have this fertility book that came out. And we also had this other fertility book that came out. But in any case, we had a bunch of books coming out, and some of them are very, very heavy. And this book, if you look at it, is not very heavy. So it's 170 pages or so compared to 1,000 pages. It's not that massive. But the story of this book is, it basically talks about the basics of Hunyuan medicine. What is Hunyuan medicine? What are the foundational building blocks? And then it goes also some technical things that I will share with you in a moment. But for a long time, for some years, as we were writing the other books that are very extensive and required a lot of research, every time I would go and teach seminars, normally, in most of the cases, the people that come to attend the seminars were very excited and appreciated the information that we share, the basic information. What is Hunyuan, the circular theory, a few things I will explain in a minute. But these things were never really written into a book, but rather, we would teach them in the course, either the online certification, Hunyuan certification course, or in seminars, in different kinds of engagements. So, and we invested a lot of effort in specialized topics within the Hunyuan system, about the heart, about the history, about fertility. But I think for a long time it was sitting in my mind, there are many people who are not exposed to Hunyuan medicine, to this Hunyuan system. When I say Hunyuan medicine, maybe it's not exactly the right term, because I think in my mind, medicine is just one aspect of what we call Hunyuan. And at the end of this presentation, I will talk about our online school as well for a minute. But I realized that there are many people who don't really know at all. They might have heard the name Hunyuan, but they don't really know what does it mean. What's the difference with Chinese medicine, or is it a kind of Chinese medicine, or what is it exactly? And so, for at least for a few years, the last 3-4 years, I wanted to get this foundation books just for people. Again, something that is not very heavy, very thick, very specialized, but just a general overview of what are the different things in Hunyuan, how do we think about it, and then also some practical applications. And so I started this project a few years ago when I went to teach a seminar in Greece, and one of our fellows at the time in Greece, Vita, who was organizing the seminar, I talked to her. I said, we did the seminar on an island in Greece, and it was wonderful. And then I said, why don't we try to take the content, because we all recorded it, why don't we take the content and just try to compose a manual to help us just make an introduction kind of a book for people who don't know what it is and they want to learn what Hunyuan is. So then we started like this. We transcribed that seminar, but then I realized that, and that was already 2 years prior, that seminar, and I realized that Hunyuan is constantly evolving, and we constantly work on getting it more refined, deeper. Even this online courses that we're doing now, for me, is just part of the project, part of the lifetime project of dig deeper. So it's constantly, Hunyuan is like life principle in motion, like keep on digging into it. There's no really graduation here. So from that Greek seminar, turned out that what we transcribed from it was just the first 2 chapters that we have in the book, because then there are many more things that added to it in the Shinfa department and other things. So then I had to write a few more chapters to bring it up to date. So the Hunyuan Foundation copy that we have today that just came out, this is up to date, what Hunyuan medicine thinks about different things related to life philosophy and related to medicine principle, treatment, and so forth. But at the end, a few other people helped me with the book. A few other Hunyuan fellows helped me with editing the book, and finally the book came out. And I think the book serves its target, its objective well, which is introduced to people who really don't know what Hunyuan is in a little bit a deeper level. So in the book we have a few chapters, 8 chapters. Here 3 chapters are summarized into point number 4. So we have a chapter about herbs, chapter about acupuncture, and chapter about Shinfa or heart method. Here I collectively put them together as chapter 4. It's point number 4. But this book lays out first the background of Hunyuan, the history that we have, and this basically involves the Huaishuan school from Western Sichuan that I'm following, that gives me the background to all the heart medicine and the Shinfa. It involves my learning for many years body arts with some very good teachers like Feng Ziqiang and Chen Zhonghua, a few people, whoever is involved in the Tai Chi and martial arts circles might have heard of them. And also with the medicine history, the kind of medicine that I come from, that comes from Liu Yuan from the Huaishuan school, but also from his student Zheng Qing'an and the Fire Spirit School, at least the original version of the Fire Spirits from the times of Zheng Qing'an at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. So these are the different backgrounds, and I discussed them in chapter 1. Just give an overview of where is this system coming from, the heart part, the body part, and the medicine part of it. And then we start dealing with the theory of Hunyuan, the circle theory, how it's related to the Book of Changes, the I Ching and trigrams, and and we have our own development. Some of the information here is ancient wisdoms from ancient Chinese medicine and philosophy, Confucianism and Taoism, and classical Chinese medicine texts, but others is further development. So nothing that we can find in other places. And I think in that respect, Hunyuan has a little special place in the world where it's hard to define Hunyuan into a certain rubric, at least not in the Chinese medicine world, because it's not a modern kind of Chinese medicine. It's also not ancient classical kind of Chinese medicine, but rather, and it's not Chinese medicine at all. For us, Hunyuan is a life principle that involves few different things. And so some of the theories have roots in ancient Chinese philosophy and medicine, so not just ancient Chinese medicine texts, but also philosophical texts, Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism. But it has further development and refinement that involves two different aspects. One is that we want to constantly make it better, even though it has been done for thousands of years. We want to attempt to make it better, and the other part of it that we want to make it also contemporary. So not modern in a way that we, avoid the ancient wisdom, but rather we want to bring it to contemporary time, to place in modern day that makes it relevant. So in the basic theory, we really learn all these things, ancient and the new developments, all merge into one cohesive principle. Then because we have a big section and a big training about the heart, in these foundation books, not only do we use the basic theory, the circle theory and unification separation theory, but also we start to go into deeper layers. And even though it is just the foundation books, meaning just basics, I think we go quite deep in this book into what we call the origin and the heart inner circle. So I have here a little whiteboard for us in Hunyuan. We first start to talk about the circle theory, the principle of cyclicality in nature, and how me, my body, my life are conforming to this cyclicality. And there's a lot of information there. This is in point number 2. This is what we discuss in the basic theory of the circle. But then we go a layer deeper and we talk about something that is called the inner circle. It's still within the same cyclical principle. But now we're not talking so much only about the physical reality, meaning how is my body conforming to nature, which has a cyclical nature to it, but also what's happening within the heart, within the emotions and desires, and even beyond that. This we call the origin. For Liu Yuan, and I'm just typing here his name, Liu Yuan, and the Huaishuan school, going into the heart and into the origin has a very unique perspective on the living being. What does it mean to be alive? And so in that chapter about the origin and the heart inner circle, we start to peel at it, even though it's still as a foundation work. So we're just putting the basic building blocks. But of course, these things should and could be developed much, much further, which we do in the more specialized texts that we have, like in the Hunyuan Xinfa book and the translation that we have from Liu Yuan. It's called Huaishuan Collection. So in this, when we go into the inner circle, we use these ancient texts and start to dig into them. And in the academy, we have a whole track, 12, 13 different courses dedicated just how to go deeper and deeper into this. But now, aside from theoretical discussions about, the basic theory, the history, the origin of Hunyuan, I thought that a foundation book should have a character which is very practical. Like at the end, we want to do something with it. It's not just learning another theory. We're all surrounded with theories all our life. And this thing needs to be practical. And for me, Hunyuan in general is something that is very practical. Everything is practiced out. When we talk about medicine, it is very pragmatic and practical. The diagnosis is almost like mathematic formula. If you do the courses online about the diagnosis, you see it's all very like mathematical formula. But already within this book, I'm explaining the diagnosis, how to compare what we call the unification ability, which is at the bottom of the circle. This is the equivalence in regular language to the life expectancy of a person. How is that being compromised compared to the circle, to the entire body, and to the heart of the person? Now, right now, because we don't have any background, it might sound like a little bit, I'm not sure what I'm saying, but when we go into it very systematically, one step after the other, it becomes very much like mathematical formulas. So I put different parts of the circle, I design letters around them like A, B, C, D, just to show you here on the whiteboard. And then when we start doing the diagnosis, which we discuss in this book, in chapter 4, I think, we start to go into this, how to compare the unification ability to A, B, C, and D, how to start to peel this onion, the different layers, and we go back and forth until we create a very clear picture of the diagnosis. And after we have a very clear picture of the diagnosis, which again is very pragmatic, it's not so philosophical, it's not so I Ching and all kind of things. The philosophy has its place, but then when we start getting to the meat of it, it starts to be very, very pragmatic, and the things that we're looking for have to be concise, have to be reproducible. It sounds almost like modern medicine, but it's far from it. But then to make the book very practical, we also have a pretty good description of the herbs, the acupuncture, and some Shinfa method. So with the herbs, in Hunyuan, we don't use many herbs, but we basically have 20 or 30 common herbs, so we list them, and then we describe along the circle which herbs do which actions. In Hunyuan, we have a very unique way of looking at medicine, and again, medicine is one part, it's like 1/3 of the overall Hunyuan principle. But we have something that is very, very pragmatic in the diagnosis. Where are the problems on the body? Just like I described A, B, C, D, like you can see on the circle here, A, B, C, D. And then we have a clear definition if a problem is either of speeding up or slowing down. And here again in the book we have a description why it's like this. Why are we talking about speed and so forth? And what's the story there of matching speeds? But problems then are not so, they don't suffer the disease of multiplicity. In other words, there's no thousands of diseases and go figure out how many diseases a person has. But really a person either have unification that is strong or weak, meaning this is the circle at the bottom of the circle or this dial. Either it's strong or weak, and it could be weak or weaker, so I need to evaluate it. And then on the body there are problems of A, B, C, D. Either they're too fast or too slow, and that includes the myriad of diseases and symptoms, at least in the body. But on top of that, and this then qualify for about 50% of all the diseases, are diseases related or have root in the heart, meaning they have manifestation in the body. It's not that the person is emotional, but rather they have manifestation in the body, but the root of it is not from the body. These, we call them principal diseases, versus diseases that starts from the body, we call them functional diseases, meaning they start from the body, and because I have a headache, my heart could also feel aggravated. But then if I resolve the headache, my heart then becomes at peace, is happy. But principal diseases are different. They start from the heart, and there's a long story that we describe in this book. What does it mean? But it starts from the heart, and at the end, the manifestation go to the body. So as soon as I hear bad news and I get anxious, that one person, for example, will start getting a headache. Because his heart is triggered, the physical symptoms will start to come out. Now these diseases, the principal diseases that start from the heart, if we just treat the body, we can get a relief, but we cannot get a cure. So for this, we have a whole other department that we call the Shinfa, heart medicine department. So these diseases, the principal diseases, in order to remedy them, we need to go deeper. Just like in point number 3 here on the slide, we said we need to go into the origin and into the heart inner circle. And there we have a whole array of methods of how to first cultivate ourselves, how to go deeper and deeper so we can realize things, and then also we have methods, what to do about it. When X is happening, what should I do about it, and so forth. But when we talk about a person not having their long life that they should have, or that they are sick, we only have very limited amount of options. Before I talked about the body and how it's related to herbs and acupuncture. So with herbs, likewise, we don't have many different herbs and thousands of formulas which are completely impossible to memorize. To the contrary, we have no formulas at all, but rather we have an array or set of herbs, let's say 20 or 30, 20 rather common ones, and then a few more. And these ones can help me restore the entire speed of the body, either speed up A or slow it down, speed up B, C, or D, or slow them down. And of course, how to use the herbs we describe in the book. First, it relies on the diagnosis. So we do a correct diagnosis, and then we start to design every time, like herbal formula that we're doing, we design it from scratch. We don't copy any formulas here. So therefore, we don't need to memorize any formulas either. So in this book, we describe it when we talk about the herbs, all the different herbs that we have, which actions they do on the circle, and then we also talk about combining the different herbs. There's different calculations of how to do what and when. Likewise, when we talk about acupuncture, which could be, and it is, an external therapy, a therapy coming from the outside, we talk about the two different aspects of acupuncture. One, when it comes out from the outside, how it impacts the body's speeds. If the body is too fast or too slow in a certain area, we have our own unique maps of areas on the body, and we explain the acupuncture. Let's see if I can find it here for a moment. See, like we have our own description of the human body, how the circle is unfolding, and then we have specific areas like you can see here. You can see this area also on the cover, like these areas that we see on the body on the cover. And then we learn how to use acupuncture or external therapy, meaning using my hand or rubbing, or we also use heat pack, something that we call Wuji therapy. If we are not allowed to use acupuncture, we can use other methods from the outside to instigate the body in certain areas to either move faster or slower, and that recovers the body's original speed. So if the body was too fast, we want to slow it down in a specific area, and then that disease or that problem resolves. But acupuncture and external therapy could also have a different application, which is much more internal, and this relates to the inner circle. So we talk about this in the book as well, meaning not how to speed or slow down the body from the outside to restore harmony physically on the body, but what happens when it's also a principal disease, meaning it starts from the heart and there is a manifestation in the body. For this, we practice something that we call Wu Qigong on the Hunyuan heart track. We have a course dedicated for this Wu Qigong, but also in this book I thought, because the external therapy today, like acupuncture and things that we do from the outside, shiatsu and reiki and all kinds of things that we do from the outside, using the heart in medicine, in external therapy, now gives it a very special place. It's not just a superficial therapy anymore, but it could be very profound. Going into the principle, into the center, is something that could be very profound. So we can use, and one of the main principles in Hunyuan is try to do more with less. So if I can just do from the outside, touch a little bit and create a great recovery, it is better than using herbs and better than using drugs. Right? Because I intervene less and I get more result. This is the overall principle in Hunyuan. let's see who can do more with less, not who can accomplish more with more. Like, it's not more stronger drugs and see that I can accomplish more. This is our own principle. So here, going back to what I was just saying, we have this aspect of external therapy, also how to go into the inner circle, how to go into the heart. But how to do that, this is point number 5 here. So I dedicated a whole chapter because I want this book to be practical. I wanted to not just to know the theory and how to do diagnosis, but then what are the herbs? How do I combine them? Which areas on the body? How do I use it from the outside? And then ultimately, how can I reach the inner circle from the outside, which I think has a very, very special place. Because we have what we call Shinfa methods. For this, we have a dedicated track in the Hunyuan Academy, and there are many courses, and we should learn it for a long, long time to go deeper and deeper. But right now, I wanted the Hunyuan Foundation to be very practical and reachable, so I can do it fast, not like a few years down the road. And this is the benefit or the advantage of doing external therapy and trying to use what we call Wu Jigong, or inner cultivation, to reach the inner circle. So we discussed that too. So here I brought a chapter. The final chapter is a whole chapter full of images. They're like 20 or 30 pages. There's description of the Wu Jigong set. There are 8 exercises. How do I cultivate this skill needed to do external therapy to reach into the inner circle? And I think within a relative short period of time, practicing it for 2-3 months, there's already stuff that I can do. Like, I don't have to go through 5-10 years of training and then maybe I can do something. It's like in a short period of time, I can start working the inner circle of the patients that I'm seeing, of the people that I'm helping. And so we have a whole chapter at the end with many, page size images and description, how to practice it. These 8 exercises that we call Wu Jigong cultivation, which is again something unique for Hunyuan. So this is, about the book pretty much. It's very easy read, and it has a lot of practical, pragmatic information, the specific herbs, the areas for the external therapy, the acupuncture, or what have you, other method that we want to use, we could on these areas, not just acupuncture needles. It has some description of Shinfa methods, like using a ledger, using music, different songs, how to work my heart or help other people work their heart using music, and so forth. And then we have this Wu Jigong set that I teach with page size images. I think all in all, this book has some theoretical foundations to it to understand and to know how to do the diagnosis, but then there's a lot of practical information about the herbs, the acupuncture, like methods. What should I do? How do I do the methods? And then finally reaching to the inner circle with Wu Jigong cultivation. We have a complete set there explained with images. This is pretty much what I wanted to say about the Hunyuan Foundation's book. I wanted to mention just in a few words that we have the Hunyuan Academy that has 3 tracks. In each track, we have quite a few different courses. And the 3 tracks are what we call body, heart, and medicine. So in the body track, we have a lot of Tai Chi and Tai Chi ruler and Qigong and all kind of things like that. The objective of it is to work myself, for my body to be healthier, more on rhythms. So, I can benefit myself, but then when I learn this information and I practice it and I know how to do it, by example, I can teach others and help them get themselves better. This ultimately is, I think, one of the most impressive or highest levels in Hunyuan, because it's so physical and it's like there's there's a lot of information there, but it's not too mysterious. It's just doing exercises of different sort, which again at times could get a little deep. So it's not just physical exercises, but there's all kind of things going on. Whoever here did some of these courses might know what I'm talking about. But then just by practicing every day, I maintain my health and my life for a long time. And that's why I think it's very, very precious. It's like the ultimate way for me and for others to try to avoid the doctor for the rest of our lives. just to keep my body healthy. But then, more than that, we start talking about the inner circle, and we have a whole track dedicated to that. And in this track, we have two different kinds of courses, practical and theoretical. Theoretical, most of it we deal with the text, with Huaishuan text, Confucian text, and there are the courses that are very practical, like the Lunyu meditation, the Wu Qigong, and others. So we are actually practicing sets of exercises or meditation techniques to start to go deeper and deeper into the inner circle. And then, of course, this will help us live longer, happier every moment, but also start to help other people in that department. Believe it or not, most people could use some help there. And the third track is what we call the medicine track, where we learn courses about acupuncture and herbs and the theory and diagnosis and fertility and treating all kinds of diseases. And this is also, I think, not only is it very interesting and very practical, like I can immediately apply it, but also it's very, like it's full of merit, because its whole objective is for us to learn things, how we can help, not ourselves, but how we can help everybody around us, our family, friends, patients, and other people. So these are the three tracks in Hunyuan that you can check it out. I also wanted to mention that we have this book, the Hunyuan Foundation, is actually being translated into several languages. To be more exact, at the moment it is being translated, or has been translated already, in 8 different languages. But 3 of the languages, the translations are already ready, up and running. And so we have 2 upcoming book launches that, of course, I'm not doing them, but I'll be there, but it's the translator who's doing it in the native language. So we have a book launch in French on Tuesday, April 10th at 9 o'clock New York time, so US Eastern time. So that should be, I think, 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK, 3 o'clock in Germany, France, and 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Greece and Israel, and somewhere in the middle of the night in Australia. And we also have a Spanish book launch on Friday, April 13th, and that's going to be a little bit later, so 1 p.m. New York time and 7 p.m. in Spain, And we already have a translation of the book also in Russian, and we don't have yet a book launch set yet. Maybe we'll have one in Russian too, but there are a few more languages in the process, and when these books are going to come out, we're probably going to do some book launches for them in that specific language. If you guys have any questions about what I said so far, I'm happy to answer it. I hope that you already ordered your copy. You can get on the first page, I put a link there where you can get the book. You see there's a little link here. So the hunyuan.academy.com/institute-literature.html. Let me just make it larger. Oh, what did I do? I just want to make it a little bigger for everyone to see it. So you can see this link, hunyuanacademy.com/institute-literature.html, and you'll get to the page where you can order hardcover, a soft paperback book, like a real book, or you can order ebooks. So with ebooks, of course, you don't have to pay any shipping, and you download it instantaneously in PDF. So in German, we do have a German translation in the works. So one of our Hunyuan fellows is working about German. We also have one working about Portuguese translation. There's Hebrew translation, Arabic translation, Greek translation, and Swedish translation. Hopefully one day will come out too. And I think that I mentioned all the ones that we have so far. But these, depending on when the books are going to come out, just keep yourself posted with my social media channels or the newsletter. If you subscribe to it, my blogs go out weekly on the newsletter. So you'll find out when this come out. Yeah, Guido, I'm not sure about conquering the world, It's not really about winning or losing. It's about, just trying to do something good just to help. So it's not about being so successful. And I know you know what I mean. But, so I'm just very happy when it comes out in different languages because it makes it more available to different people, in different languages. So the languages, the world is becoming smaller. So we want to kind of dissolve the boundaries and just make it more approachable. And I think for me, Hunyuan is like this. It's all about making it more simple. This is one of the guiding principles for me in my life. It's like simple, if we do it right, equals depth, like equal depth. It's deep. Simple is deep. When it's complicated, for me, it's always like there are places to hide. So it looks like very, very sophisticated. Well, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. But when there are many, many details, it's like, wow, I can't get it. It's so sophisticated. But for me, the pure thing is very, very simple. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu said, the Tao gives birth to one, one to two, two to three, three to the myriad things. Really, if we can grasp the Tao, it's like everything is within it. Right? It's very simple. It's just one thing. Likewise, in the Lunyu meditation course that we're doing, just last night we had a class. We're talking about Confucius. We talk about the Analects, chapter 5. And Confucius is going into that things that is very, very complicated, but really he's looking for something that is very, very simple. It looks like there's multiplicity of many different things, but at the end we're looking for something that is very genuine and insight for everyone. We call this in our meditation classes merging. And you look at many different people, many different things, but at the end you can merge this all. There's one light that comes out from every human being, which is the same. This is called grasping the Tao or merging it together. So for me, again, simplicity, making it approachable, making it practical, with no place to hide. Not all kind of things that are very sophisticated and you often are hiding behind it. So this is like my guiding principle. In any case, it was a pleasure sharing with you this book launch. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. You can do it through the website, the Hunyuan Academy. Let's see where we have it, hunyuanacademy.com. Just shoot me an email through the website. And I'll see everyone soon in one of the courses or in one of the seminars or somewhere. All right, everyone. I'll see you soon.